We're on that Dalet Amid Beis, about 10 lines from the bottom by the two dots. Yoim Mei Yitaref Be'egel Simen. Guf, Amr Bishum Lady. Maidich Sev Anashar Noichim Mitzavcha Hayoim La'asoisam. We've had this drasha before. Pasuk says, this is what the Rebbe was mitzavah to do. We dash in Hayoim La'asoisam V'loi L'macha La'asoisam. That means you have to do it now, and you can't do later. Hayoim La'asoisam Hayoim Litos Choron. And also, you can do it now, but you don't get the schar in this world. In other words, the first part is telling us that we had this earlier. The Goyim are going to come by our little Asad Lavi and say they want to start doing mitzvahs, and the Rebbe is going to say it's too late. You have to make hay while the sun shines. You have to do the mitzvahs before and not after, when the time comes time for judgment. And vice versa is also true, that the schar for mitzvahs is not an olam hazeh, it's an olam haba. Am Bishum Levi, comments Yisrael Oisam by Olam Hazeh, boys and Midas Oisam Olam Haba. The mitzvahs that you didn't do the mitzvahs themselves come and testify for them. Something like it creates a malach that comes and advocates on the behalf of the Yidden. Shenemar Yidnu Yideim v'Yitzdiku. We had this at the beginning of the Masechta, that the Eidim, which are the mitzvahs, will come and be matzdik the Yidden. Yishru, then the pasuk continues, Yishmu b'yomru emes. So we dash Yidnu Yideim v'Yitzdiku el Yisrael. Yishmu b'yomru emes elu avdei chavim. The part that the Eidos will come and be matzdik is for the Yidden. And that which Yishmu b'yomru emes, they'll say the truth, that's the avdei chavim. Their evil deeds will come back and testify against them. Bam Yishub ben Levi. This is like going a step further. We said the mitzvahs will advocate on our behalf in Olam Haba, and the averis of the Goyim will advocate for them. That was like the mitzvahs of the Yidden will be cause punishments for the Avdei Kechavim in Olam Haba. Al pnei, on their face, Shenema, Shmatem asisim kihi chachmaschem ubinaschem, should watch and do the mitzvahs, because that's the chachma and the bina, the understanding, le'enei ha'amim, to the eyes of the other nations. Neged agim le'nemar, it doesn't say opposite the amim, it means you're going to do mitzvahs opposite the amim who are not doing the mitzvahs. El le'enei ha'amim. Melamed shebois v'tarvus le'dichavim al pneim, la'olam haba. It's coming to say that in Olam Haba, the mitzvahs that we do will be like a smack in the face for the Avdei Kechavim. This is a fascinating. I mean, I think this must be the lashon of the Gemara. It doesn't seem like it could be read literally. I don't think it means that the Bnei Shalom wanted the Yidden to do the egel, to be a pischem peh, to provide support for people who are Bali Tshuva, to let everyone know that you could come back from any kind of Avera. I think what it means is that the Maila, something good that come out of the Egel, is that it provides support for Bali Tshuva. Shenemar mi yitain v'haya levavim zeh lahem. Who would have given, who gave that their heart should be liyira isi kol hayam, that they should fear me all the days. That means the Rebbe Shalom is saying that when the Yidden were saying that it was too much for them to hear the Aser Sadibras, it was too intimidating, and he said that, the reason why I'm telling you the Aser Sadibras is because now you're at a very high level, but mi yitain hahalavai, that you should remain in this state, in this elevated state forever, because that you should remain fearing me. Elalama asu. So, I'm sorry. I skipped. I'm behind Really, David HaMelech, who was he was over in Avera with what was his Avera? I think that with Bathsheba, that he saw her bathing and he sent away her husband, which we saw. Whoever says that David was chayta is wrong. But we say Lamaisa he did something that he shouldn't have done, and Yidden also really shouldn't have done the egel. Loy David Roy Loy Samais Dichsev V'Libi Cholul B'Kirbi. David Hamelech had said that he doesn't Libi means he's referring to his Yetzirah. He says his Yetzirah was dead within him. He had already conquered his Yetzirah. Lo Yisrael Loy Samais Dichsev Mitem V'Helivam Zeh Lahem Liyiroisi Kol Hayom. Like we just said, that the Yidden after Har Sinai, that after the giving of the Torah, were at a very elevated level, and they shouldn't have done the Avodah Zarah of the Egel. Elama also, why they do it? Lem l'chashem chata yachid I'm lekach etzel yachid im chata tzibur I'm lekach etzel tzibur. We have these two examples that, which is it's still. I mean, the Gemara sounds like it's saying like this is the plan. So this is one of the things that we say the Baruch Hashem has plans that we can't decipher, even to the extent that this is bechira l'chayra, doing an avera is it's the one thing the Rebbeinu Shalom says that he leaves in our hands. But even this, there was a mila to it that if a yachid does an avera, we could point to David HaMelech. If the tzibur does an avera, we could point to the Yidden after Kabbalah Satira, that they did averis and then they were able to become Bali Tshuva. Utzricha. Yashmin and Yachid Mishum Deloy Mefarsim Chata Avol Tzibnim Mefarsim Chata Emaloi. Maybe if someone would say that, Yid does an avera, that's not so harmful, but a tzibur that does an avera, everyone knows about it. It's a terrible chil Hashem. Maybe there's no tshuva on that. The Yashmin Tzibur Mishum Denefisher Achmayu. The Mershom has a lot of rachmanis, so he gives a lot of leeway to a tzibur. There's they don't have a collective schusim emaloi tzricha. That's why we need both of those examples. Behind the Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani and Rabbi Yonis, Ma'idich Sivin David ben Yishav Numa Gever Hukam. This is the statement of the David ben Yishai, the statement of the man who's been stood up. Al David. The person that the Rebbeinu Shalom has established. That he established the ability to do tshuva, like we said by Bathsheba. Whoever does a single mitzvah in this world, very similar to what we said before from Yeshua ben Levi. Your tzedakah will come in front of you. We always call Misa by Yosef el Hashem. So that's a reference to when he's going to be mace, and then the mitzvah is going to will come in front of him. Whoever does an avera, that he will be draped with that avera, and will come to him will join with him in the Yom Adin. He's not going to be able to shake it. They'll be clothed with it the way that they go. What's the whole pasuk over there? And it says they're going to go up, and then they're going to be destroyed. The averis are going to be tied to him like a dog. Like a dog follows its master wherever he goes. This pasuk is he didn't listen to Eshes Peitifar to lay with it. That had he done so, he would have been over in this world, and then she would have remained with him. She would have hung around. That avera would have stuck with him in Olam Haba. Amar Shlosh, Bo b'nachzik toiv alav. You have to have akarsa toiv to our forefathers. Shomalei hein lechatu anu lebanu la'olam. Had they not been chayta, this is a very hashkafically bewildering. This says, if not for the avera of the egel, we wouldn't have been born. None of us would have been born. Shenema ani amarti aleim atem bnei elyon kulchem. The Rebbe Shalom says about the Yidden after Matan Torah that you were bnei elyon, you were like malachim. Chavaltem masechem. But when you did the egel, you destroyed with your meisim your elevated status. You are no longer like malachim. Achin ka'adam kamusim. Therefore, you're going to die like men. Which means to say, the way Rashi understands it, that if not for the Maisa Egel, they would have remained like Malachim that don't die, and like Malachim that don't have children. And we never would have been born. It would have been the last dar. You see, it's a fascinating concept. Now, the Gemara is going to ask a bunch of kashas on that, because this is clearly connected many things that are said in the Torah. So does that mean that had the Yid not been chayta after the Matan Har Sinai, they wouldn't have had children? It's a mitzvah in the Torah. So at Sinai, that maybe that mitzvah is only up until Sinai. After Sinai, there would not be such a mitzvah. In fact, it says that the Yidden were told after Matan Har Sinai that they could return to their tents, and we darshan that means that they would have to be pirated from their wives, but they were told they can go back to their wives. But if they're not having children, why would they go back to their wives? So they would have been mizaveg with their wives, but without having any children, without period virivia, but just with the simcha of the zivug. In fact, the Gemara of Aksiv, Laman Yitav Lahem Uluvneim. The Baruch says he wants to be native to them and to their children. We were saying there aren't going to be any children. What it means is those children that were previously born, the Baruch will be native, but that will be the last generation. For the Gemara of Amrish Lakish, Ma'idachsiv Zeh Sefer told us Adam. The Baruch writes, this is the Sefer of the story of the children of the generations that are born. Did the Adam Rishon have a sefer? There's nothing before him. Adam Rishon dar v'darsha, dar v'chachma, dar v'parnasa. He showed in every dar that was coming in the future who would be the darshanim, who would be the chachamim, and who would be the leaders. When the Baruch was telling over to Adam Rishon about the dar of Rabbi Akiva, Sameach b'Torah. Adam Rishon was very happy with the Torah, and it's atzav misasa, but he saw how he was going to die, and it made him very sad. Amar v'lima yikru re'ayich kel. He says, what am I going to do? All I can do is trust. We have realize how precious the Rebbeinu Shalom's concepts are, the Rebbeinu Shalom's plans are. He says the Rebbeinu Shalom, we say Baruch Dayan Emes, the Rebbeinu Shalom has a plan. Everything is clearly for the good. And I've said this a number of times. I don't know if I've told this to you. I keep saying to myself, 2 years ago on October 7th, we said this is the worst thing that's happened in who knows how many years. And it was hard to imagine how this could be for good. But the Yid in Eretz Yisrael, in spite of all the bombs falling on them, their general matzah is better in a way that we couldn't have imagined how it would get to that. It means there's no Hezbollah, there's no Syria, Saudi Arabia, all the Gulf states that Egypt and Saudi Arabia that we were afraid would join into a war, are all very pacified. They're happy that Israel is fighting against Iran. And this all was like a wonderful plan to get to this point. And to us, it looked horrible, and it was horrible. Clearly it is. But, this is good advice not to question the Rebbeinu Shalom's plans. I don't remember which Masechta we had this in. We had this concept of a guf. The guf over here is a reference to a makom, the Rebbeinu Shalom's vault, where he keeps all the neshamas. So Rabbi Yossi says Mashiach is not going to come until all the neshamas that are destined to be born, that are kept in the Rebbeinu Shalom's guf, until those are released. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, I will not continue to get angry, and I will not lose my temper, because the ruach will come from me, uneshamas ani asisi, and I've made the neshamas. Those neshamas are going to be born. So so but you see that the Rebbeinu Shalom does have a plan that he's going to have all these people be born. So how could we say that the Rebbeinu Shalom's until the Yidden were chayte by the Egel, there wouldn't have been any children born after that point. So tomorrow, loitema anu loy banu lo Ella, we shouldn't say that. The original member that we had said was we have to be makir toiv for the chait of the egel, because if not for that we wouldn't have been born. So he says it doesn't mean that we wouldn't have been born, we wouldn't have come to this world. El kamisha loy banu lo It would have been, what would have been the status had the Yidden not been chayta? It means that those Yidden that were there at Mount Har Sinai would have remained as malachim, and all of us, we would be regular human beings with all our foibles and frailties. So it would have been as if we were not born. We would be so irrelevant, connected what the malachim who were there at Mount Har Sinai, that it would have been as if we weren't born. Or, I mean, let's see Rashi, because this is a little kamisha leibanu lo'olam v'shehin chayim lo'olam v'chol zman shein kayam ein anu chashuvim klum. So Rashi says a little differently than what I'm saying. So it makes more sense because he says it just means that they would live forever. So we would be like very small. Our lives would be like nothing. But it doesn't make really sense to say. What I'm thinking about in my head is that we all know all of Klal Yisrael was present for Ma'amad Har Sinai. So why is it saying that some people would benefit from being at Har Sinai and others not? So I guess this is like almost like a physical thing, that they just would have lived forever, even though we makabel the Torah, but we wouldn't have gotten that physical benefit. Are you trying to say that had they not been chayta, they would have lived forever? V'aksiv, Parshas Yevamis or Parshas Nachlas. The Torah includes specific mitzvahs that are dependent on people dying. There's no such thing as a Yavam without a brother dying. There's no such thing as a Yerusha unless someone dies. So the Gemara, al Tanai. These mitzvahs were given al Tanai. They were given that if the Yidden will do an chait, then they'll kick in. In fact, the Gemara, Miksivi Kroy al Tanai. Do we actually, does the Torah have things that were only dependent on future events? What is it? What does that mean? The Torah which comes with a hey. So hashishi, if the Yidden are makabelit, muta. If not, the whole bria will not be kedai. So you see, the whole bria was made with a tanai. Meisve. This is the pasuk that we had quoted at the bottom of the last Amid. The Rebbeinu Shalom said, "Halavai that the Yidden should remain with that right now at Mount Har Sinai they have good intentions. Halavai that should remain like that." Lohem ami'item v'haya levavim zeh lohem levatal mehem malachamavis. So he said, what does that mean? Yeah. The Gemara says, what does it mean that he's going to the Rosham that he said that Halavai they should stay like this? He can't be mavatal the Malach Hamavas and say that no one's going to die. Shekfar Nigzur Gzera. At the time of Kain Behevel, the Rosham made Gzera of Misa. Holy Kibli Yisrael Zatar Lekdei Shalei Uma B'Loshen Shaletisman. What was the Mila that the Yidden got at the time of this Bryce is saying that they got at the time of Kabbalah Sinai is that they're going to be, no one's going to ever fully defeat them. As again, current events shows like this, that in the end, they're not going to be able to be destroyed. In order that the should do good, should be made to him forever. Huda Amar, so Dr. Mara, so you see that this is not like Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish said that L'chari Yidden was supposed to, after Matan Arsina, they were supposed to live forever, if not for the Cheda Egel. And now we're saying that it never was a possibility that they could live forever. So Huda Amar Kiaitana. This brisa that's saying that the Yidden always have to die, he's saying like a different Tana. He's chaylik on Rishlakish Tana of Yesi Aimer, like Kibbutz Yisrael the Torah L'Kadesh L'Yeh Malach Hamav Shoylet Behen. He also says such a concept that the Kabbalah with Kabbalah Satira there was not supposed to be any shlita of the Malach Hamavas. He couldn't affect the Yidden. Shneim Ani Amati Aleim Atem Ubnei Elyon Kulchem Chavalta Maseichem. You and those who are on high, meaning like Malachim, but then you destroyed your Meisim, which was the same pasuk that we quoted before. Achen ka'adam tamusin, and therefore you will die like men. You will not remain like Malachim that don't talk. In fact, the Gemara Rabbi Yossi Nami, so Rabbi Yossi, as you're saying, is the Mandam who says that the Yidden would not have died without the Cheta Egel. Haksiv man yitav lahem l'vneim ad olam. We said from the pasuk man yitav that the Rishon is going to do good for them ad olam. So that l'chayr is mashma that they're not going to die. Toivahu dahavia hamisa ika. Doesn't mean that the Rishon will always be beneficial to the Yidden, but it's not to the extent that they're not going to be subject to misa. What's the gimel? Amalach Rabbi Yossi. Yeah, that makes sense. Amalach Rabbi Yossi. Even the lack of misa, ein l'chatoila taiva gedoyla mizu. Rabbi Yossi says no. Since there's no misa, that's the taiva that the Rishon is talking about. Tanakami noksiv achen ka'adam kamusan. It says Adam Achin Adam Tamusan that you are going to die. So tomorrow, my misa anias. We often find this. We found this by the Gemara doesn't. The Gemara is going to give examples, but we find this by Esav's son. Rashi says that Yaakov told him, "You may take away my money, and then you could go tell Esav that you killed me because I'm ani chashuv kames." So my misa. The misa referring to over here is anias. The Amar Mar, Arba Chashuvim Kamesim, that four that are considered like Kames Elohim. Ani, someone who's poor, Suma, someone who's blind, Umitzara, someone who has Mitzaras, Umisha and Lebanim, someone who doesn't have children. Where do we see this? Ani Dechsev Kimes Kol Roshim. It says that I think this was by Dasan Va'aviram. They've they lost all their money. We know Dasan Mavirim was still around. The answer is that they lost all their possessions, therefore they're considered a mace. In the darkness, you return me like those who are dead. So you see that someone who's in darkness, someone's blind, is considered like a mace. It says by Miriam, she became a mitzaras, said she shouldn't be like a mace. This is one of the imayis. She said, give me children, because otherwise I'm going to be dead. So she said that someone who doesn't have children is like someone who's a mace. Tanarabban. If you go in my ways, ein im elaloshen tachnunim. Im bechukaisai telechu is the Rosh saying, please go in my ways. It's not the im. It's not a lashon of if, but rather a lashon tachnunim. V'cheinu oimer lu ami shemeli. The Baruch Shalom is asking us to listen to him. Kamat oivei machnia. If you listen to me, then I will come and I will vanquish your enemies. But oimer. If you will just listen to my mitzvahs, the shalom that will follow will be like a strong river. And your children will be like the sand. And those that come out of you will be like sand, innumerable descendants. Tanarabon, meat and vahi levavim zeh Who will give that the Rosh again? This is the same pasuk that we've been starting from the beginning. Who will give that the Yidden will keep their heart the way it has been? Amal and Moshel Yisrael. Kavli Toiva b'nei Kavli Toiva. You are people who are Kayv. You reject the goodness that Rosh gives. You're not grateful, and you are descendants of those who are Kavli Toiv. B'shash Amar Kishbar Chul Yisrael. Mi yitin v'havel v'ohei zelahem. When the Rosh said, who's going to give it that the Yidden should remain and not do Averis and stay like they are now at Har Sinai? You should, the Rebbe should have, the Yidden should have said, as soon as the Rebbe said this, you be the one to help us, give us siyata d'shmaya, that we should be able to continue keeping mitzvahs in the same manner. But they lost the chance. Kafli Toiva. So how do you see that that they were Kafli Toiva in that? The Siv v'nafshenu kotza b'lechem hakloikel. They said about the man, they got bored of the man. They said it's lechem loikel. It's not geshmaka lechem. B'nei Kafli Toiv. They're the children of others who are Kafli Toiv. The Siv ha'isha shenasati imadi hi nasnali v'na'etza va'oichel. The other Mauritian said that about Chava, that she gave him from the eights instead of taking responsibility. He said it's Rebbeinu Shlomo's fault for giving him an isha. Af Moshe Rabbeinu l'ramz lahem Yisrael la'achar aboim shana, and even Moshe Rabbeinu did not realize to instruct the Yidden to grab the opportunity to ask for siyata d'shmai. When the Rebbeinu Shlomo made this offer, he said, "Who will help to ensure that the Yidden will remain not doing Averis?" Moshe Rabbeinu, the Yidden should have said right away to the Rebbeinu Shlomo, "You help us." And Moshe Rabbeinu should have instructed to them that, but he didn't do it immediately. He did it in Veschanon when in Chumash Devarim, when he gives his valedictory, when he says when Moshe Rabbeinu gave his instructions before his Misa after 40 years. Shnema va'oilech eschem ba'midbar ba'im shana. Moshe Rabbeinu said, I took you in the midbar for 40 years. What's the whole pasuk? You didn't realize, you didn't have Havana of what the proper thing to do is until now. You see that a person takes 40 years till he gets to the full meaning of what his Rebbe is trying to teach him. That was Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know, did not understand what Moshe Rabbeinu, what the Rebbe Shalom wanted from him, that he should have told the Yidden to jump onto that opportunity. It's a familiar pasuk from Bava Kama, but it says the Rebbe Shalom is saying should be gebenched those who plant their seeds on the waters. They send their meshalchei regel. They send out the feet of their cows and their donkeys. Ashreim Yismo, Ashreim Yisrael. This means that the Yidden are gebenched. Mancha oiskim b'Torah b'gemilas chasadim yitra masa b'yadim. That helps them vanquish their Yetzer Hara, as we know. Brasi Yetzer Hara, brasi Torah tavla. Because it says that the Rishon benches those who plant in the waters. Meaning to do tzedakah. The kitzur lefi chassid. That's the end of the pasuk. You plant with tzedakah, and then you'll reap with chesed. And so the pasuk says, Zara al kol mayim, that's a reference to doing tzedakah and learning Torah, and that's going to keep away the Yetzer Hara. A person should make himself, as far as divrei Torah, like a shar that carries the yoke, and like the chamor that carries the burden. That should be our approach to learning. Okay. Okay, I think what time is it? Yeah, I think we'll stop over here. This is a new topic.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.